The delayed monsoons in southern India have affected crops, especially vegetables. Now, for example, take tomatoes. The vegetable that was being sold at rupees 5 to 10 rupees per kilogram in the markets is hovering at around rupees 100 to 105 in per kilogram in the markets today. We spoke to several agricultural meteorologists, agri economists, as well as people who are working closely with the farmers. And they have been saying that though these delayed monsoons have partially affected the sowing season as well as cultivation, but it is not alarming yet. The uneven monsoons has affected some of the produce, but there are other factors that they say that are also affecting these, especially the crops. Now, the delayed sowing by farmers, deficiency in precipitation that helps in the growth of the crop, as well as hoarding by some traders in the markets, also has led to the rise in prices of vegetables and other produce. Now, let's take Karnataka. The southwest monsoons in this particular state has been weak, and the state has seen an almost a 54% deficit in rainfall. Though when we've been speaking to scientists, they have been saying that certain areas, for example, be it in the interior southern Karnataka as well as interior northern Karnataka, have been receiving the rainfall that is due in June. But it is the hilly regions and other parts of southern and northern Karnataka which have not received rainfall, and that is where the deficit is being seen. Now, according to scientists that we have been speaking across the board in different states, in Karnataka specifically, many districts, the clouds have still not opened up, is what they say, even though this is towards the end of June. Interestingly, if you look at it, the state agricultural minister, Mr. Chelwara Swamy, has said that only God can safeguard us from a drought, as Karnataka is facing 58% shortfall in rain. But he also explains that nearly 82 lakh hectares have been seeded by now, and this is usually what is done, and around 10.2 lakh hectares of land have been sowed so far. So, despite the storms that we have seen in Karnataka, there has not been adequate rainfall. But though it has been raining and the rains have kind of set in, the farmers are yet to get into their sowing. Now, it's also interesting that there are particular factors why there have been delays in sowing in Karnataka. The recently conducted assembly elections that took place, we did see that the involvement of the farmers, especially in Karnataka, was quite aggressive. And many of the farmers did take part in several of the election rallies and debates, as well as many of the interactions with leaders. Now, this agriculture scientists say was also a cause for the delay in sowing. Many of the farmers, they diverted their attention from their farmlands towards the political parties who they support, or trying to express their demands with political parties, and that caused a certain delay in the farming as well as sowing in their farmlands. Now, in the state of Karnataka, for example, in districts like Kodagu, there has been 83% rain deficiency, Belgavi around 73%, and places like Chikmagalur around 74%. Experts also say that as of today, the rains have not reached all parts of the state, and though it has been reduced by 40 to 45%, there is a likelihood that with the monsoons that are expected to come, that it will be made up. There is no cause for alarm as of now, and there is sufficient time to harvest. And the farmers should not be alarmed with this delayed monsoons, is their advice, especially to those who are owning farmlands. But there is a word of caution that if the rain delays beyond the third week of July, and the farmers do not get the necessary precipitation that they need for the cultivation of crops, now we're talking across the board, then other scientific techniques like cloud seeding could be looked into, and that is when the state can also start moving towards seeing whether they are heading towards a tough situation like a drought. Now, this year, especially with the vegetable, especially with tomato, there has been a very small amount of sowing in terms of the land that it is being sowed compared to the previous years. Now, if you look at important vegetable markets across, especially like in Bangalore, now why we are concentrating so much in terms of vegetables as well and tomatoes in Karnataka is because Kolar, which is in Karnataka, is the largest tomato market in the entire Asia. Now, around especially a place like Bengaluru in the vegetable market of Kalasipalya, around 60,000 crates of around 12 kg of tomatoes is received per week, but this time it has gone down to around 30 to 35%. Now, areas like Tumkur, Ramnagara, Chanpatna, which usually see a large yield, they have also seen a reduced yield as well. But the vegetables and the tomatoes and vegetables like tomatoes and onions and others, especially tomatoes, farmers say, have been affected by what is called the whitefly disease. This does has affected the yield by almost 50%, but that is yet to be seen in terms of numbers that the state has to be given.